Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining the Choice Solutions webinar today. We're excited to get started this morning. So while people are still joining us, I'm going to go over a couple of housekeeping items. So number one, your ticket to the steaks from Fairway Meat, which is actually one of our Nutanix customers up in Iowa. Your ticket to get the steaks, and then we're going to send you a couple other pieces of meat shipped in dry ice to your home. So your ticket to that is to stay on the webinar the whole time, and then to take our short four or five question survey. In the survey, we'll have you enter in your full address. Make sure to include your zip code in there so we can ship out those steaks to you. They should be arriving in the next week or two. If you have questions on that, feel free to reach out to me or Mary Kate with additional questions. We might be sending you some confirmation emails on that. But again, stay on the entire webinar and then take the short survey at the end to get your items from Fairway. And then you can utilize the Q&A if you would like, if you have questions at all. So feel free to utilize that if you have any questions throughout. But again, we thank you for taking the time this morning. We appreciate it. And I'll go ahead and kick things over to Dana Steinloggy with Choice Solutions.
Thanks, Ellie. Good morning, everybody. Yeah, Dana Steinloggy, Choice Solutions. I am one of the partners here at Choice Solutions and currently up our sales organization. So, on behalf of our organization, we're grateful to have your time and for you joining us. So, obviously, there's an awesome giveaway as a part of your time and taking a survey. But beyond that, I think maybe you're here today because you're wanting to either explore and learn a little bit further about maybe, hey, is Nutanix, is that a potential platform that could be a good fit to support business critical applications in your environment? Maybe you're also thinking about, hey, is Choice Solutions the partner, a right partner that might be able and capable to help you with that journey? And then thirdly is maybe, if you already have investments in Nutanix and you're dealing with constraints in your IT organization, could Choice Solutions be a viable option and direction to go to maybe bring some value to your operations team by managing that aspect of your environment. So those maybe some things you're thinking about today and why you took time to join us. So we're grateful you're here. Just, for background, we've got 70 plus team members within our organization, and they're kind of spread across the central part of the U.S. and down in the southeast and growing into the Great Lakes as well. And we serve customers, many of you joining us from all over the country. So excited to have you here. Just, some things that we, focus on as an organization to bring value to our customers. Just obviously the user experience, so how your users are accessing the applications, desktops they need in the workforce, the most consistent, secure manner. Some things that are kind of top of mind right now that are a little bit outside of our conversation today, but tie into it indirectly. You might be thinking about digital employee experience initiatives. You might be thinking about Windows 10 and the end of life that's coming up in October 2025. So you guys are various cycles of your journey there. End user computing alternatives, there's been a lot of changes there. Maybe transitions from VDI to DAS or maybe just, again, how rethinking how you're accessing the apps, the workspaces that your workforce needs to do business. But a little bit more tied to this conversation today, with ties into, cloud transformation, the journey everybody's been a part of, whether you've made investments in Nutanix or you're thinking about it. Modernizing your infrastructure, maybe understanding, hey, what's the right cloud strategy for organization and the right fit to take. Obviously, 2024 has dealt a lot of new challenges to organizations, unfortunately, with maybe some of the financial impact of VMware by Broadcom, decisions. And with it, there's a lot of, and then from, as you're making this transformation, there's a lot of things that impact, how you're doing backups, cybersecurity protection, business continuity and recovery, as well as how security factors into it. So those are all things that might be top of mind or part of things that you're focused on and working towards that's kind of aligns with where we're helping others. All the while, and this kind of ties into what Benjamin and Liam will be sharing with you guys today, but IT organizations across the board deal with constraints. And today, some of the message we'll focus with on the operational side is maybe how we can be a partner for your organization with some of your technology investments and help with the upkeep, the ongoing operations, things like that. Certainly, there's other areas that we can be a partner in of assistance to your organization too. What we found, and just meeting with a lot of customers and new customers, we get the opportunity to start serving, is there's kind of a gap in the marketplace for you in IT partners. So there's been a lot of consolidation, a lot of large national type of partners that are becoming more and more transaction and procurement focused. Instead of value driven and really truly seeking to help you kind of work alongside your teams, your organizations on the technology investments you're making. And so that's also a big part of a focus for our team and services we're providing for others. So again, just a quick spectrum on areas we can be a partner to your organization. Today, we're going to focus again how our managed IT services offerings might be able to be a play for you and help you beyond kind of what we're going to talk about today. There's if you have EUC investments, we can help manage and support those environments for you. Having a lot of conversations around backup and recovery and disaster recovery as a service tools and options that we have that are phenomenal. A lot of cybersecurity, software and subscriptions that we can layer in from managed IT services offerings, and we're a Microsoft CSP, so anything you might be doing in Azure with M365, things like that, we're very, very capable of bringing value to your organization and team as a partner. Some strategic partnerships we have, just again, whether it be today, focus is Nutanix and how that can support your organization on-prem or as a hybrid solution, Microsoft and Azure, just end user computing platforms, digital employee experience, secure endpoints, as well as, backup and recovery. So just a little bit about us. And obviously talking about Nutanix, if you're going to go down that direction, whether it's an investment you're making, or it's an investment you've already made, you want to make sure you make it with the right partner. And that's certainly something we believe we are and can be for your team, for your organization, whether you're beginning to explore it or whether you've already invested in it. We want to be and help you. We feel like we've made the investments and we'll continue to make the investments to have the technical know-how, the resources, the capabilities to be a very trusted, value-driven partner throughout the life cycle of your investment. And kind of with that, I think it'd be good to introduce and transition this over to Benjamin Krill, who's the practice lead with our organization around the Nutanix and the solutions we're offering there. Also a solutions architect, as well as Liam Catherall, who's the director of our managed services organization. So Benjamin, Liam, thank you guys both for joining us. I will transition this over to you.
Awesome. Appreciate it. So as Dana mentioned, Benjamin Krill, I am the Nutanix practice lead and solutions architect. So I've got about 20 years of industry experience, mostly in the consulting side, but also on the customer side. My first job was as a Citrix administrator for an agricultural organization. Citrix has been in my blood, so end user computing is something that I live and breathe. And that's where I got introduced to Nutanix. It's a bread and butter type of a solution for end user computing. So I've been tied in with Nutanix for pretty much since their inception. Even spent a little time working for them because I like them so much. Happy to be with Choice Solutions and having a great team here, helping our customers leverage Nutanix or begin to leverage Nutanix, and then having a great team on Liam's side from the managed solutions to help customers continue to operate it and make it an easy transition and something that really gets something that they don't have to worry about day to day. So Liam, I'll let you talk about your role and your team.
Sure. Liam Catherall, Main Service Director. I've been with Choice for going on 5 years next month, I think. We are filled with 24/7 knock. We have core expertise in Nutanix, Citrix, networking, you kind of name it, the things that you saw on the list earlier of our strategic partners. We have SMEs, subject matter experts in each one of those fields and multiple so that we have backup when people are sick, vacation, multiple issues at the same time. I think that's the basics for us.
Awesome. Sweet. So what we want to talk about, we're obviously going to talk about Nutanix and then the managed services offerings that we have specifically around Nutanix. So as Dana mentioned, particularly over the last couple of years, there's just been a lot of influx in the market around, how do businesses operate coming out of COVID and now trying to get back to what's normal or what's the new normal. Certainly a lot of businesses had to correct their operating model for COVID, and now they're switching back and trying to figure out, did we overcorrect? Have we undercorrected? But they're just trying to figure out how do we continue to deliver the services for our customers, for both our end users within our organization, as well as our external customers that we have. And, certainly any business, needs to continue to grow in order to survive. So how do we both work through some of these operational challenges that we have while we continue to grow the business? You always, the analogy is, you're trying to build the road while you're driving on it. So like, how do you do that in a manner that's sustainable and efficient, and you don't put yourself at risk of overcorrecting, undercorrecting, and obviously dealing with, things that are outside of your control, cybersecurity risks, or, as we found out, not even necessarily cybersecurity risks, but third-party vendor risks when, updates get distributed within your environment that have unintended consequences, as we saw just about a week and a half ago. And so there's a lot of things to accomplish within a business, and there's not always a lot of time and an ability to do all of those things in-house like there used to be. So budgets are constrained as organizations are trying to figure out, where do we put our money, and what money, what kind of budget are we going to have to do things, based off of, how are our revenue streams changing? And then based off of that too, who do I have within my organization to be actually be able to do these? So even if I have the money to do them, do I have the right resources, and what other competing initiatives are out there that I need to do? So, our traditional IT infrastructures that we used to have people that were very specialized into one thing. They could, do that top to bottom, but that was their only thing. The problem with that is, if you had, as you start to see more and more of IT infrastructure and applications and data, they start to blend across each other. So if you have to have, multiple specialized people now trying to align timelines and schedules for all of that, it just takes too long, and it makes the process more cumbersome. And anything, that takes more time, obviously there's going to be more expense to that. So it's kind of a double whammy. So what people are looking for is, how do I get all of these things to start operating together in a consistent fashion, so that I can not have to worry about having so many resources that can do one particular thing? How can I get to a more generalized operating model that I can have my resources work across the board? So what we want to get to is in a place where it doesn't really necessarily matter where the services or the infrastructure is that it's coming from. We can work with all of those things. So, whether it's traditional on-prem, whether it's, something that's in Azure, something in AWS, a SaaS service, all of those things, we need to be able to consume those in a way that's consistent. And we can really focus, what we want to focus on from a business perspective is, we want to focus on the applications and the data. At the end of the day, from my background coming from end user compute, all the end user worries about is, they worry about their apps and where the data and the data that they're using. They don't necessarily care where the data is. They just want to be able to say, I bring an application, it has the data that I need, and I can do my job. And at the end of the day, I can go home. It's us as the IT folks that need to worry about where that data is coming from and how we integrate that. But we also want to get to a point where we don't necessarily have to worry, is it coming from this particular area, and therefore I need to handle this with a little bit different mechanism or process. We want to get to the point where, regardless of where it comes from, we're going to manage it the same. So that really leads into why we would want to have Nutanix. So from a time to value perspective, the solution lends itself to being able to be deployed quickly. So we don't have to worry about having massive IT projects for setting up infrastructure, integrating it in with what we already have, migrating data. The Nutanix solution really lends itself to, we have applications and we've got storage for the data, and that's really what we worry about. all of the IT infrastructure pieces, we're going to make those less visible and let you focus on your applications, your data, and letting your end users being as productive as possible. And we're also going to make a solution that makes it so that, whether it is a traditional on-prem, whether it's a cloud, whether it's a remote office, we're going to do all of those operations and management from a similar platform so that we have similar processes. Again, regardless of where the data is coming from or where it's going to, we manage it the same way. In doing that, then we make our migrations faster because we're not having to worry about an entire project around data migration or application migration. We've laid the groundwork of a platform that allows us to move that. Obviously, there's going to be some differences, but we take a lot of the complexity around massive IT infrastructure deployments, massive specialized type of infrastructure, and we take that out of the equation. We make all of that more generalized, so we just get past that and we're able to focus on the data that we have and the importance that it is, and then we can move that wherever it needs. So if we've got a lot of, legacy systems that are still on premises and we need to deploy this infrastructure within our existing data center, we can do that. Obviously, cloud is a huge thing that a lot of customers are looking to leverage, and they're saying, well, I may be in Azure in 2-3 years, but I'm just not quite there yet. Well, that's great. That's where the Nutanix solution comes in and allows you to take that, the current need of I need to do a traditional on-prem installation, but also prepare you for that cloud workload that's coming down the pike. So, and then in that, whatever that may be, that 2-3 years, we can look at what that transition looks like, leveraging a lot of the investment that we've already had, but we just shift where the workload is. So for those that may not be as familiar with the Nutanix solution and how it works from a bits and bolts perspective, I'm not going to get too far down into the weeds, but I definitely want to cover this is how Nutanix makes it so that you can focus on just the apps and the data, which is what we're really concerned around. So on the left side, you'll see this is what we've been used to for years and years in our data centers on premises. We've got our compute layer, we get our servers, we get our storage wherever that may come from. We set up our networking. And then at that point in time, we can load our software to distribute these resources. And then at that point in time, we can load our applications on top of that. So you can see in that type of a model, we've got multiple different steps and multiple different integration points, which just slow down the overall movement of IT and business value within an organization. So Nutanix said, let's cut out a bunch of that stuff. All we want is similar items that we can just build, have as building blocks, and then we can start to load our applications. And we even want to take that virtualization. What you're worried about is your applications and your data. So we'll just give you some building blocks that you just keep stacking them up, and then we can start putting our applications on top of that. So in building out that unified model, that's what allows us to really be flexible in what we do. So whether it's traditional, IT infrastructure that we're doing now with, like infrastructure as a service where we just have traditional Windows, Linux VMs, and we just need to service those to the organization, we can do that. It could be storage services, object storage, file storage, block storage, for legacy applications or for high performance applications like SQL and Oracle, we can do that. If we're starting to get into cloud native, so Kubernetes, container services, DevOps operating models, we can do that. And we just bolt this all on and it's all from the same platform. So we're not having to say, oh, well, I've got this storage need and I need to purchase a new solution, which means now I'm going to have a different management point. The Nutanix solution brings all of those together. So you can say, all right, sweet. I need some unified storage because I'm going to need some object storage, some file storage. I'm going to put that on top of this and I'm going to build that out, or I'll expand to have that service as maybe my Kubernetes clusters. And from a management perspective, as the infrastructure admin, I can manage that, distribute out and say, here's my storage stuff that's going to be for my file services. Here's my DevOps area of the environment, and I can let them have it, but I'm still managing the overall infrastructure from the same place. So that flexibility, that ability to not have to be locked into a particular vendor for storage, a particular vendor for networking, giving you that flexibility to say, all right, I can deploy this on-prem now, I can deploy it in the cloud, I can deploy it both simultaneously, unlocks your ability to really drive business value within your organization. Figure out what the best placement is and deploy there. Whether it's, whether it's cloud storage that we need to add into our environment, whether it's we need to augment a legacy system, we've got one place that we can do that across the board. And it's simple. So it's the entire solution is built around a simple interface and automation so that these repetitive tasks are not things that you have to sit there and do day after day after day. If it's something that we can repeat, we've got the ability within the platform to run that automation to be able to make it so that it's even more hands off. And then in doing so, certainly any IT infrastructure, there may be things that come up that you need an extra set of hands for, problems that come up or something that, a new feature comes out and you have a question. I mean, the Nutanix support is phenomenal. So I worked at Nutanix for right around 2 years. And I will be honest, I loved when our support was engaged with a customer when they had problems because I knew that they would get it solved. And even if it wasn't necessarily a Nutanix issue, it might be hey, well, I'm trying to integrate this piece and leverage this feature of Nutanix. How do I do that? It wasn't even really a break fix, but the support was awesome to jump in and say, here's what we're doing. Here's what you're going to have to do from your side to be able to make it work the way you're expecting to. So really going the next step, going above and beyond just hey, it's broken, let me fix it for you. But let me make sure that you get the most out of your investment. And when we talk about getting the most out of your investment, that's where we talk about our managed services and how we from Choice Solutions can help take a lot of that day-to-day maintenance and kind of the operations off of you to allow you to focus on your strategic stuff. So Liam, I'll let you talk about kind of some of this ways that you and your team help with that.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Benjamin. So I think that it's was shown earlier all the Nutanix certifications we have under the Choice umbrella, and when you come to a managed service provider like us, you get the ability to utilize that knowledge, and it's right there next to you. So whether it's a partnership where we're augmenting as a managed service provider your current infrastructure engineers, or you've lost your engineers and you need someone to just manage the entire Nutanix platform. With that managed service contract, you get the access to all that knowledge, and whether it's a managed services dedicated engineer or on occasion when we bring in our professional services team like Benjamin to help us get through things. That's where we bring in that expertise and help you. And the other portions of that is we are a 24/7 shop, and a lot of times when customers already have engineering staff, they do maintenance windows over the weekends or overnight, and by the time the next day comes around, there might be an issue, and instead of getting a fresh engineer, you're working with someone that maybe had 1 or 2 hours of sleep after doing a maintenance window. Having a managed service team behind you focused on your Nutanix infrastructure allows those engineers to get a good night's sleep, get called only if there is an issue that needs their attention, and then they wake up, and the next day, if there's other issues, you have a fresh engineer at your fingertips instead of someone really tired. The other portion of that is that we are watching those alerts and errors. There's errors on drives, or there's errors with any portion of the Nutanix experience, we're watching that 24/7 and proactively going out and investigating, ensuring everything is copacetic. And if it's not, contacting you, telling you what the situation is, fixing it. If it can be fixed without any interruptions to the customer, to you as a customer, then we go ahead and perform the action and fix the issue. If it's going to take some downtime, we coordinate that with a standard change management process that everybody's used to. And the cost effective portion of that is that we know how it is when you're trying to get your engineers all the way certified, and or there's churn. There's a ton of cost that goes into making sure that they're up to date on their certs, and if they go away, getting someone else and getting them trained. The nice thing about managed services is that it is a predictable cost. We handle the churn if there's churn employees. We have the documentation. We have backup for when there is people gone, and it's a straight cost for that. And that's really the biggest reasons why you'd want to have either full-time managed services taking care of the whole stack 24/7, 365, or augmenting current engineers that are already taking care of it. But there's only one or two, and they can't handle the 24/7, 365, all the issues all the time. This one's yours, right?
Yeah. So, when you re-platform to Nutanix, Dana mentioned, certainly Broadcom, we're seeing a ton of interest in what does something outside of the traditional VMware paradigm look like. There's a lot of risk, and there's a lot of soft IT costs that goes into that, as well as, obviously, hey, I'm going to save by not having to pay Broadcom 3x what I did before. But you save that on the upfront, but now you do have some costs around, hey, I actually have to start migrating some data and replatforming this and putting what I had from my VMware environment onto Nutanix environment. And I do need to put some cost into training that admin staff that I've got. So by using managed services, we've already done that. So we've already got the processes, the procedures, and we've got the staffing in place. So it allows you to avoid having to say, all right, I've got to get this admin and have them go to a class for a week to get trained up. And in the meantime, then I've got my other admin who's essentially pulling double duty at that point in time. And then maybe in a month's time frame, I'm going to flip-flop. So you get to really pull that back and leverage the investment that we've already made. And then, the amount of scale that we've been able to get by, having been so invested in the Nutanix solution for so long, we've built out a really large bench of folks that are just ingrained with it and know it. And then, you can take your time as you get your team up to speed and what it's going to take for some of the day-to-day operations, maybe some of the specialized operations that are very business specific, but allows you to focus on that. So allows you to, take the, what you have and focus on what is the next thing that's going to be coming down the pike for the business. So now that I don't have, my two admins, my three admins that are sitting there figuring out, all right, here's how I do this piece, or here's how I deploy this part of infrastructure. That part's taken care of. Now they can go meet with your business units and say, all right, what are the things that are coming down the pike for you that are challenges? What are, some of the new applications you're going to have? What are some of the new processes or the new services that we're going to be delivering to our external customers? And how can we, as the IT, enable that? So by getting ahead of that, it's not oh, hey, by the way, we've got this application that we're going to deploy and it's going to go live in a week. And now we're scrambling to figure out how to do that. We can start having those conversations ahead of time. So,
And
Go ahead.
Sorry. Yeah, and in that line, we when we have our customers in calls monthly and quarterly to talk about what's coming up, when you're able to refocus your IT engineers to business proactive business needs, they have the ability to translate some of the business infrastructure issues to the engineers that are taking care of the back end. So you get kind of the best of both worlds if you have the ability to refocus those IT engineers on the applications that actually bring in your business. Yes, the Nutanix and networking and all the other things is a base. It's kind of the foundation that all these applications run on, but they usually run and they run well. And instead of having people focused all on that, you have the ability to relocate some of those cycles to interface better with your business application folks.
Absolutely. So why don't we dive into one of our customers and how we help them out by, they transitioned to Nutanix. They've been a longtime customer with ours. So Liam, I'll let you kind of talk about who they are, what challenges they had, and how we were able to help them.
Yeah, similar to a lot of people are looking at transitioning and replatforming because of the VMware acquisition, or they're trying to figure out how do they get into the cloud. This customer in 2014 came to us, and they had an aging 3-tier environment, and they were needing some support and going to that next level. Do they stay with 3-tier? Do they look at a hyper-converged like a Nutanix? And when they came to us, they came to us because they had experience with us in other environments, and the expertise of our engineers and the trust in our account managers that they had worked with in the past. And they understood that when they weren't just selling something on the engineer, or as far as trying to just make a sale, they were partnered with them, and so they had a trust in our team that was in front of them. And when we came to them and said, "Hey, this Nutanix thing is probably the place you want to go," and gave them the story about how you're going to take away a lot of the complexities of the new environment and transition. One of the fears there was, well, it's a whole new platform. How are we going to be able to transition, understand the technology, be able to be an expert? And that's where we came in with that managed service offering. As you can see, been with us as a managed service, Nutanix managed service partner since 2014. And we continue to support this customer throughout those years, through the high times, and there's been some low times, but we've been able to partner with them and work with them throughout that period with updates and upgrades. And the solution they have is an active access solution to two data centers and disparate locations, both of them on at the same time. They have them geo located, so if you're from one part of the state, they go to one data center. If you're from another place, you go to a different data center, and then there's a failover through the EUC environment that if one system goes down, the other one is available. So it's an active solution, and it's there's not only some application magic that makes that happen, but there's also some Nutanix magic in there that allows for that those two environments to stay active and have the same experience on one side as you do on the other. So the solution, of course, was a Nutanix solution, and we came in with our managed service team and partnered with their infrastructure team to allow for that to be a great solution for them.
Yeah, I think one of the things there, a couple of things that you mentioned is, certainly we're not in the business of just saying, here's the solution, take it. Dana mentioned that, there's a lot of resellers in the market that will absolutely help you buy technology. But one of the things that we love to do, both on my side from a professional services where I'm helping with the initial deployment, as well as Liam's team managing that on an ongoing, is that we want to have that ongoing trust relationship so that we understand not just the technology, but we understand how you're leveraging it. We understand your business processes, your business needs, so that we can help make informed recommendations around here's what might work better for you, or actually you may not need that, or at least you may not need it now. So let's focus on this part that is kind of the burning fire right now, and we'll get to that. But obviously a relationship that's going on now a decade really allows us to have that intimate knowledge of what they do. So it's not just a, hey, it's time to update it. It's, all right, we're coming up to a refresh. Is everything still the same? What's happening in this part of the business, and do we need to adjust? Are there things that, up, down, sideways that we need to do to make sure that we're still driving value within the business, as well as if there are things that we can help offload to again leverage the expertise that we have, that may be new things that their admin team isn't up to speed on just yet. So we can help take that on too, so that they can again continue to focus on delivering value within their business.
One of the advantages that I get to brag about all the time is having Choice Solutions as a partner, having both managed services and professional service project management team associated, is that the managed service team can focus on the interrupt drivenness of day-to-day activity and day-to-day maintenance and the ongoing life cycle of the current solution. And then when it comes to new projects, whether it be updates, upgrades, and that sort of thing, we get to bring in this whole other group that's totally focused on projects so that they can work with your engineers and application teams at a project level. So day to day continues to happen. We have a whole team that's just focused on that. We have a SME, a subject matter expert that knows you, knows your day to day, meets with you daily and weekly in the trenches. And then we have a technical account manager that works with you for just the umbrella of managed services. And so that day to day interrupt driven process, a lot of you out there have the same people doing that interrupt driven ticket here, trouble here, P1 here, P2 here, also doing your projects. And it just creates a timeline that continuously extends past the due date because other priorities come up. By having both a managed service and a professional team that have that wealth of experience, we get to come in and say, okay, you got a new project. We got someone totally focused and dedicated to you. We have a professional, a PMO team that's going to ensure the project's coming in on time and on budget or under budget, and communicates to you at a project level and does it at a project time. At the exact same time that we have a whole other team that's managing your day-to-day operation. And in those projects where we have both the managed service and professional going at the same time, the SME also on the managed service side gets to communicate directly with the engineers that are doing your projects so that they understand the needs, so that there's no loss of translation between company needs, day-to-day operations, and the project. And then at the end of the project, when the new stuff becomes operational, it's a smooth handoff. It's documented and it's ready to go, and it's without missing a beat.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, you touched on a really good point there. I mean, and I've been in this situation where I've been engaged to work with a customer that, and a lot of times, I'm coming in and I'm just working with a customer and there's a project ahead of me. And then I find out, okay, they're a managed services customer. I love that because I know that I can reach out to somebody on Liam's team and say, all right, give me, what you experience from a day-to-day perspective, so I have that context when I go into it, or if I run into a hiccup or something that doesn't make sense from a project perspective, I can reach out to them and they can say, yeah, I know that might seem a little unusual. However, here's the business process that's enabling or necessitated us to do that for right now. And we've already got a plan in place, and I can say, all right, cool. So I don't have to worry about that. I don't have to address that. You've already gotten taken care of. And now I'm back on the project, which, as Liam mentioned, allows us to better come in either at budget or under budget because we have our focus on those things.
Great.
Liam, there anything else from this customer that we need to touch on? Or, obviously they're long-term customer of ours, continue to be. They've been through multiple refresh cycles. If they've been with us for a decade, multiple refresh cycles of Nutanix, and continue to leverage that and see value within their business, correct?
That is correct.
Fantastic. That's what we love to see. So we love to see, you know, being able to drive our, business value currently, and then also helping them figure out what's the next step that we need to get to. Because obviously, public cloud is something that's not going away. A lot of customers are trying to out there figuring out how do we use this? How do we best leverage it? And there's stories left and right where organizations say we're cloud first and we just throw stuff in Azure. I can tell you from experience, I've been involved with a large organization that said we're cloud first. They meant cloud only, and when they meant cloud only, they meant Azure only, and that works really well at a C level, and being able to drive that strategic vision. But at an operational level, that can become very challenging. And what does it mean to be cloud first? The Nutanix solution says, all right, we'll take away some of that complexity and having to redo everything to make it fit into, Azure's operating model. Or, Azure may have something that doesn't quite fit the bill. We need something over on AWS. All right, well, how do we manage that between what we've got in Azure already? Now we need to go over to AWS. We still have this stuff that's on-prem that's not going away anytime soon. Nutanix solution says, all right, let's step in. You deploy on the Nutanix platform, and we can deploy that into AWS. We can deploy that into Azure. And then you have a single point of management and single processes, procedures, and support protocols for all of those. So taking Nutanix and putting that out into, say, an Azure so that you can run that exact same infrastructure that you're used to on premises, and you can put that into Azure, whether that be for bursting capabilities. Say you may have, a quarter within the year where this is our really big time. Tax companies, that first quarter of the year, they're going crazy. They don't necessarily want to buy infrastructure for the entire year when they've got 3.5, 4 months where they're going like gangbusters, and then the rest of the year is just kind of steady state. So this is something that allows you to take what you have, that consistent investment, you continue to put that on premises, extend that out into Azure on an as needed basis. DR is another really good solution. So you don't have to have two data centers or have a data center where we've got a bunch of things deployed that are just sitting there not being used. We can extend a portion out into Azure, and we can back up out there and leverage the scale and the investment that Microsoft has already had, and we can just kind of rent those resources to use. But again, we don't have to change our operating model. So, wherever you are, there is something that can be leveraged from Nutanix, as well as our services around that. So it could be on-prem, it could be, edge resources, robo locations, small manufacturing locations that were like, hey, we have a footprint that we need there. How do we do that without going crazy? And how do we do that so that that's not a one-off solution? Or, as we talk about going into the public cloud, we can help you with that, and we can wrap our ongoing services. So from an operational model, you don't have to, take on as much of that burden. So if you want to learn more about Nutanix, We've got office hours. They're led by me. We have some actually later today. So during the lunch hour, and then later in August, we've got kind of a happy hour one. But if you go out to our events page, we're doing a summer series now that goes through August. And then once we get through that, we've got some other things coming down the pike for it. But we dive into particular portions of the Nutanix solution. So a little bit of content, a little bit of demo, and then we also have open forum. So if you have questions, concerns, things that don't make sense, or items of around Nutanix that you're like, I know a little bit about this. Can you give me some more information? We've got some open forums so that you can come there, bring your questions. And if it's just hey, I just want to learn more about it, we've got some content for you to start learning bit by bit without having to take on the whole thing all at once and having to drink from a fire hose. And then from a managed services perspective, Liam can give you some more information around what we've got both from a Nutanix as well as other managed services that we've got.
Yeah, so our managed Nutanix solution is just part of a umbrella of things that we take care of on the managed services. And you kind of think of it for us anyway, is what is fairly consistent across many customers. And that's what we look at, whether it's taking care of Windows servers, Linux servers, manage EUC services like Citrix or Azure Virtual Desktops, that whole line of EUC environments. What we have hosted solutions in our own Choice Cloud. We do managed services on-prem, and we also do managed services for public cloud like Azure. So it's really things that you can look at across multiple customers. What similar things can we help out across many customers that aren't extremely unique to one individual customer? And that's why we talked about in the past about, or earlier about finding partners that are focused on the business processes and the business line applications that has the ability to translate what they're seeing from a business side to us to be able to troubleshoot the engineering side on the infrastructure. So whether it's network, it's hybrid infrastructure, cloud infrastructure, traditional three-tier infrastructure, we can manage all that. And then finally, the one thing that some people miss is the security side. We have a managed security service with great partners that back up great products that we take care of to continue to keep your environment safe.
Yeah, thanks, Liam. And so just to hop in, Benjamin, Liam, thanks so much for the information. Obviously, when you're exploring managed IT services, it's one thing to be an IT partner, and it's another thing to then they kind of go further into like a managed partnership. We take partnerships very serious, earning those and the responsibilities that come with those, and more so too when it comes into to being a partner that might be managing part of your operations. So we take that very serious. We hold ourselves accountable. We've grown into being SOC 2 Type 2 to make sure we got the processes, the tools, the things in place to make sure we're being a solid partner. And obviously, there's threats that we all deal with as IT professionals every day. So we take it very serious in that. And if we have conversations, obviously we want to make sure that we are our team where we're at and where you're at, that's a good fit for your business. And if we're not, if it's not a good fit, we'll also be the first ones to kind of communicate that with you as well. So with that, the office hours, if you haven't made that kind of investment in Nutanix, I really encourage you to join the office hours. Benjamin does a tremendous job of helping educate and share information there, whether you've already looking at it or have maybe already invested in it and just continuing the learning process. And then if you'd like to learn more about our managed IT services offerings in the survey, just communicate that. Just click that, and we will follow up with you appropriately. So thank you for your time. Thank you for joining us here today, and hope you enjoy the Fairway meets and have a fantastic day. So thanks, everybody.